Good afternoon, Board of Managers. This is Matthew Hendrickson standing in for Mike Sandiger. This is due to some unforeseen circumstances, but welcome to the 2024 AIS Year-End Summary. The initial draft is available to be reviewed, and the final draft will be coming in January. This will cover all AIS activity. However, see Tori's Watercraft Inspector presentation for detailed analysis and additional info relating to all inspections. Overall, this will focus on 7 lakes. The vast majority of the work in the report was completed by Garrett Miller, while Mike Sandiger worked on the end-of-year reporting. The January draft will include full reports from Blue Water Science for all completed delineations and surveys, and of course, final end-of-year costs. Presented here is an overview of the district-wide budget. A majority of the funds were from the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District levy, with other large contributors such as Washington County Grant, the Chisago County AIS Grant, and Forest Lake Lake Association. We'll take a closer look at where those funds were used, along with other amounts at an individual lake level. A majority of the expenses were spent on the Watercraft Inspector program and management of vegetation relating to AIS. This includes flowering rush, curly-leaf pondweed, and Eurasian water milfoil. The first lake that we'll take a closer look at is Moody Lake. Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District has 3 main focuses for this lake: the aeration system, curly-leaf pondweed, and a native planting conducted with the U of M in 2023. The aeration system was operated for a week in January as it was unneeded after that due to unseasonable warm conditions. 2.26 acres of curly-leaf pondweed was found in the Blue Water Science delineation in April. But due to the U of M planting in 2023, no treatment was undertaken, and additional surveys in May found light to heavy growth along the lake edges. The available Moody Lake AIS funding for 2024 was $7,100. This was covered 100% by the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District levy, whereas the total AIS expenses utilized for Moody Lake in 2024 was only $3,200, and this was for a point-intercept macrophyte survey. Progressing on to Bone Lake, Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District has 4 main AIS focuses. These are related to curly-leaf pondweed, zebra mussels, watercraft inspections, and Eurasian water milfoil. In April, Blue Water Science performed a CLP and EWM vegetation delineation survey. Curly-leaf pondweed was observed in the north and south ends of Bone Lake. However, no treatment was recommended or performed this year. Additionally, light Eurasian water milfoil growth was detected on the northern and southern shores. In May, a follow-up assessment was conducted that yielded similar results for curly-leaf pondweed and fewer locations of Eurasian water milfoil. Additionally, a diving survey was conducted by Blue Water Science to assess zebra mussel populations, which resulted in no observable mussels being detected. The Bone Lake AIS budget funding for 2024 was $21,000. $16,000, or 76%, was funded by the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District levy. $3,000, or 14%, was from the Bone Lake Association and Scandia Lions Club. The final 10% was evenly split between the City of Scandia and Washington County AIS prevention grants, each providing funds of $1,000. The Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District program expenses totaled $19,900, with a majority being used for the watercraft inspections, which totaled $15,000. The remaining $4,000 was used to conduct delineation and assessment surveys for Eurasian water milfoil, curly-leaf pondweed, and zebra mussels. Moving on to Little Comfort Lake. Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District has 3 primary focuses at this lake, relating to curly-leaf pondweed, Eurasian water milfoil, and AIS early detection and tracking. District staff performed a CLP delineation in April and observed growth that consisted primarily of single-stem CLP that posed no ecological or recreational threat. Eurasian water milfoil (EWM) was detected by the DNR in 2021, which has led to the district staff annual monitoring and early detection surveys. Staff will not only track the abundance of known species such as CLP, EWM, and purple loosestrife, but also monitor for the presence of new invasive species. It should be noted that Little Comfort Lake did not have any funding or expenses for AIS management during 2024, resulting in the two comparable graphs presented here. Traveling further south in the district, we arrive at Shields Lake. Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District has two primary AIS focuses for Shields Lake. These relate to the aeration system and curly-leaf pondweed. The aeration system was operated for a week in January as it was unneeded due to seasonal conditions, whereas 1.18 acres of curly-leaf pondweed was detected by Blue Water Science in April. This was then treated by Lake Management, Inc., and within a month an assessment survey was performed and found good control of the treatment location with primary light growth scattered outside the treatment area. The available Shields Lake AIS funding for 2024 was $3,500 and was 100% funded by the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District levy. The total AIS expenses utilized for Shields Lake in 2024 was $3,480. This was for a curly-leaf pondweed management. Nearby, Lake Keewatin, Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District has three main focuses at this lake: AIS early detection and tracking, curly-leaf pondweed, and purple loosestrife. District staff performed an AIS tracking and early detection survey on Lake Keewatin. Staff will not only track the abundances of known species such as CLP and purple loosestrife, but also monitor for the presence of new invasive species. The district has performed herbicide treatments the last 3 years to manage purple loosestrife populations on Lake Keewatin. Overall, staff are noticing a reduction in the total area of purple loosestrife. The available Lake Keewatin AIS funding for 2024 was $1,200. This was 100% funded by the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District levy. However, no expenses were utilized in 2024. Progressing to Forest Lake. Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District has several main focuses at the lake relating to AIS. Let's begin by examining curly-leaf pondweed and Eurasian water milfoil. 15.79 acres of curly-leaf pondweed was found in the Blue Water Science delineation in April, and Lake Management performed a treatment on April 24th. This was followed up in June with an assessment survey that determined the treatment was effective within the delineated areas. However, in June, Jerry Grutner of the Forest Lake Lake Association received a reported sighting of Eurasian water milfoil in the east basin of Forest Lake. District staff confirmed this report by conducting a quick survey at suspected growth sites. Blue Water Science conducted a whole lake EWM delineation survey. Their findings showed a large and sudden boom in growth within the second basin. Treatment was conducted by PLM Lake and Land Management in early July. This was followed up by an assessment survey for all treatment areas that occurred twice later in July and October. There was no EWM observed in the treated areas. District staff did collect samples of the EWM to have them genetically tested. These tests will determine which strains of EWM they are. The district's flowering rush management program has been operating since 2014. It's been very successful at reducing overall abundance. The management program was continued in 2024 using delineation and assessment surveys to perform seed head removal and shoreline treatments. Several other AIS focuses for Forest Lake include purple loosestrife, zebra mussels, and the plant harvesters. The district has been managing a large population of purple loosestrife on Forest Lake since 2020, and staff has noticed an overall reduction. Zebra mussels were first discovered in Forest Lake in 2015 and can now be found in all three basins. The district will continue its zebra mussel sampler plate program in 2024 to track population and size. The Forest Lake Native Aquatic Plant Harvester is operated solely by the City of Forest Lake, and the district only helps to create a harvesting map that avoids locations of AIS issues. The Forest Lake AIS budget funding for 2024 was $130,875. 66% was funded by the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District levy, 18% from the Washington County AIS Prevention Grant, 13% was from the City of Forest Lake, and 3% was from the Forest Lake Lake Association. Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District AIS programs expenses totaled $98,426. Watercraft inspections was the greatest expense, which totaled $39,997 or 41%, followed by Eurasian water milfoil management at $28,300 or 29%. And then flower and rush management was $24,120 or 24%, with the remaining $6,009 or 6% being used on curly leaf pondweed management. With our final stop, we arrive at Comfort Lake. Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District has four main focuses at this lake relating to AIS: curly leaf pondweed, zebra mussels, Eurasian water milfoil, and watercraft inspections. 9.45 acres of curly leaf pondweed was found in the Blue Water Science delineation in April. Treatment was conducted later within the same month, and an assessment survey was performed in May. This found fair control within the treatment area. Zebra mussels were first discovered in 2017 and will continue to be monitored through the sampling plate program to monitor population size. Eurasian water milfoil delineation was performed by Blue Water Science in April, which also detected 9.45 acres of heavy growth and posed an ecological threat defined as over 180 stems per square meter. Treatments were performed within the same month. The Comfort Lake AIS budget funding for 2024 was $21,500. $16,000 or 75% was funded by the Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District levy. $5,000 was from the Chisago County AIS Prevention Grant, and $500 was obtained from the Comfort Lake Lake Association. Comfort Lake Forest Lake Watershed District AIS program expenses totaled $21,040, with the majority being used for the watercraft inspection, which was 74%. 18% was used for the curly leaf pondweed management, and 8% was used for Eurasian water milfoil management.